So this kind of came up earlier today. I was watching a game for one of my friends, and he specifically asked me this question: would I have battled in this spot?
Welcome to Corran's Questions, a show where I ask a panel of Star Wars CCG experts some of the big questions about the game. Today, we're talking about battles, so here's today's panel along with their Smash Brothers mains. He's never played Smash Bros. Before, but if he did, he'd play Ice Climbers, Robbie Hendon. He likes to play a Fire Emblem character with a sword, so he mains Corran, Haze Hunter. He likes to play a Fire Emblem character with a sword, so he mains Ike, Charlie Arlinson. He knows that Zelda isn't the boy and mains Link, Anthony Batmouse Howard. Depending who and why he's playing, he mains Dark Pit or Captain Falcon, Bill Taco Bill Kafer. And he doesn't know what a main is, but he likes to play as Meta Knight, Scott Lingrell. Today's question: what do you think about when deciding whether to battle?
Whether me initiating this battle and the potential rebeat is gonna lose me the game.
Is it right to battle? Like, do I need to battle? Am I already winning this game if I don't battle? What's the point of the battle? If it's the point of the battle is just to battle, that's not always going to be a winning play. You have to think, what's the long game that I'm going on here? What's my goal?
I kind of one of my I wouldn't call it a mantra, but one of the ways I play the game is initiating battle is often to your detriment, um, because of the way that the game is designed. If you lose ground on a battle you initiated, it's much worse than losing ground on a battle your opponent initiated, because you don't have a response. Like you're not going to be able to respond to the board state when you initiate. They get to respond to the board state that you changed.
If you're playing WAP and you're sitting at the throne room, your goal is to take the throne room. If they've got characters there, you're probably going to have to battle. And then it becomes into, is this battle kind of profitable for me? Like, if I battle here, am I going to lose too much that when they battle me back, that's it? Do I need to just sit here and stare at them while we both build up some resources and try to develop my hand? I've had a game where I played WAP against Invasion, and we sat there and stared at each other at the throne room for 6, 7 turns because it was not really profitable for either of us to battle on our turns. It was better if our opponent battled into us than it was if we battled into them. And so while we were staring at each other, I developed my hand to change that and make it into my favor. And that's when I started to battle.
I have disciplined myself in recent years to start every turn of every Star Wars game saying, how can I go through this turn without battling? Like, right now, the game is so fast, and being able to keep your permanence on the table is so important. Battling is just a risky proposition much of the time.
I will do the entire battle in my head, how I think it could go, right? So I'm let's say I'm going to come up with a small example. I've got a Luke Jedi Knight at a site, and my opponent has Vader and Tarkin, right? A formidable battle, but if I can go through this in my head and say, okay, I have, a sorry about the mess, I can swing at Vader, use the sorry about the mess, make Vader lost, and beat down on Tarkin. However, if he's got force field, that's a bad plan. So now I'm going to pivot to the second piece, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this to Tarkin, and then we can just, hope to get rid of Vader or draw Destinies or something. And then I go to the third piece, and it's, oh, what if you don't draw high enough? And so all of these things you got to think about before doing it. The biggest thing I'm thinking about is, at the end of the battle, what does the site look like? So is it, do I come out ahead from that battle? Do I, remove Vader and Tarkin often enough that that's a good battle? Or sometimes is it just, we're going to play for the defensive, see what he comes down with. I'll do that more if I have, Hujix, a Blaster Deflection, something like that.
you want to make sure that you're initiating battles that are clearly advantageous for you. You want to either be removing all of their cards or creating overflow, and you obviously want to have negligible losses yourself.
It's kind of about like what I think the board state will look like afterwards. So like if I initiate this battle, first of all, am I going to survive the battle? Am I going to take more of their board equity or whatever than I'm going to lose? Like, am I going to kill 2 things and I lose 1? Or is this site essential to my win condition?
So typically, I'm an aggressive player. And one of the reasons with Hayes, he beats me a lot, is because he uses battle evasion a lot. Barriers, stunning leaders, things like that. So with me, if I have characters I want to deploy, I'm going to try and battle immediately, right? If I want to come down, I'm going to battle. If I have characters already there and they have characters already there, that meant a battle probably happened from them. And depending on how that went, I will see kind of what I have in my hand. If I have tricks, if I have more characters, and I think I can do a good job of battling him and doing damage or clearing the site, then I'll do it. But typically, I'll be aggressive, and if I feel good, I'm just going to go after them, not thinking about the evasion cards. So I typically try to play anti-evasion cards now because I get frustrated when they will evade me a lot. So typically I'll just say, I'm ready to battle. I'll go down. If we have characters at the site, then I want to make sure I have the cards to kind of go down there and do something about it.
Like if I'm playing a control deck, um, I almost never battle. Like it's pretty rare, because you're basically saying I have a win condition, and if you can't affect my win condition, then I'm gonna win. So why would I need a battle? You need to do something about it, right? Like when you're playing QMC, for example, it's like I'm have an alien at 1,000,000 sites, and I have a bunch of stacked Bestfin. I'm not paying a drain. I'm retrieving. Like, do something about it. Why would I have to fight you, right? Like, so. But if I'm playing like a mains deck, then it's an essential part of succeeding. So, like when I'm playing mains, it's about I need to push the tempo in my direction. I need to force action. I need to disrupt their game plan.
If it's a drain of 1, I'm probably never battling. If it's a drain of 2 and I don't have retrieval, or it's really going to put me in an odd spot, then I'll go into that fight. Drain of 3 and 4, those are obvious. I have to fight you, or I have to find something to stop you from draining me.
But you have to look at, it's deeper than just, oh, they've got characters there, I need to battle. You have to ask, what's the point of that battle? Sometimes it's to cause damage through first strike, draw their fire. Sometimes it's for the retrieval effects of those. Sometimes it's to clear the site. Like, is your deck one that wants to keep them off sites? Are you trying to, turtle on sites and be more defensive? In which case, then maybe you don't want to battle. Are you strong in that theater where you're looking to battle? Obviously, if you're playing weak space, you're probably not going to want to battle, Y-wing into an executor. But you have to look at that and see, because sometimes, if that Y-wing battle into the executor causes enough damage with first strike, draw their fire, and you win the game, then it doesn't matter. Who cares about the Y-wings being down, 14 power or whatever? So you look at all those things, and you have to put it together and understand where it's going to lead you. And a lot of that for new players is extremely difficult to figure out. And the way, a lot of us, especially the people that you asked to do this video, have done it is we've been playing the game for 20 years. We've got muscle memory with a lot of this stuff. We can look at it and go, okay, this will happen, this will happen. Maybe it's not profitable yet, I'll wait. Or, okay, yeah, it is profitable, let's go for it. But you pick up some of that from experience and by playing the game. But sometimes, I see too many people just rush into battle and not understand why they want to battle or what they want to achieve out of that battle. Maybe there's a particular character you want to get rid of. Like, these are things that you got to think of to determine whether that battle is going to help you achieve your victory or help you achieve your defeat.
But if I can avoid fighting you, for me, I'm gonna avoid fighting you because the way I build decks and play the game is I'm trying to out damage you, outrace you, and honestly, if you're not hurting what I'm doing, I see no point in fighting you.
One of my favorite matchups is like 0 Hour versus Imperial Entanglements, because you're just like battling in these weird situations. Like a lot of times 0 Hour is just like taking over Tatooine, not even on Lothal, and then Imperial Entanglements is like counter beating on Lothal, and it's just bizarre and it's interesting, and there's a lot of thought into like how you can affect the board, say with initiating battles. So yeah.
To the heart of battling, and actually this sort of goes back a little bit to deployment, you have to be able to recognize what tricks they are most likely to have. So pulling on that sort of encyclopedic knowledge, right? If deck lists are posted after a big event, you should go and look at them and get a feel for how many people are playing Masterful Move and GIC, how many people are playing Masterful Move combo and GIC, how many people are playing GIC combo, right? Like little things like that. I mean, obviously those aren't really battle tricks, but looking at the number of UR beatens, it's obviously gone up recently. Thinking about the number of sniper dark strikes, the number of senses, force fields, cards like that. And of course, these are all dark side cards because I like to battle with light. But the point is, generally you don't want to battle. If you are going to battle, you want it to be advantageous, and you need to think through what your losses will be. So I guess you could say that's almost like over deploying, right? Like you don't want to deploy like Luke and Lando, knowing that Lando's going to die and Luke is going to have to suffer the consequences next turn, right? So maybe it's worth playing Luke and Lando and some fodder. Hopefully you just have to lose the Lando, but Luke and the fodder stay, or however it works out, right? So,
but you always have to think about what's going to happen next turn, and what you're trying to accomplish with the battle.
Fascinating stuff. Hopefully you've got a better sense of what to think about before you initiate battle. Personally, I liked some of the specific hypotheticals we got from the panel. What was your biggest takeaway from today's answers? What do you think about when deciding whether to battle? What questions would you like the panel to answer in the future? Thanks for watching, and until next time, good luck, have fun, and no reverts. Today we're talking about battles. So here's... Gotta screw up a couple times for the reel at the end. Today we're talking about battles. So here's today's panel along with their Smash Bros mains. Is it Smash Bros or Smash Brothers? I say Smash Brothers usually.